Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. This is my summary of the work we've done on Twitch this week. We're working on a set of tools for dulcimer players, and this week we focused on what we're calling the jam log and giving some of its capabilities to the other views, the first line views that we had. So what we did this week, one thing is we updated the palette. So we've gone to this kind of creamy pink, brown, green, and a navy, almost black kind of color, and use that throughout the app instead of the other scheme we had more yellow in it. And I think this will be a little better. We may change it again, but that's okay. Another thing we did was we converted it so that we use a single song library. So originally, first line view, I thought was going to be kind of a read-only database of a standard set of songs that gave the first line of music for that song, and that the jam log would be more something you tailored with songs that you were learning in particular, and realized, yeah, it should just be one view. So we combined those. And then we had separate views for the first lines and the jam log, and we've unified that into one parent view. We combined performances into song. So before we had song and then another class that held on to the list of all performances. And this fit better when song was going to be read only for the first line view, and the performances would be the thing that changed for the jam. But at some point it was like, well, we have to add new songs for the jam and so on. And decided it would be easier if the performance was just part of the song. Even though the first line view won't show it, it's just data about that song. We worked on the sorting. So now you can sort by name, by the last played, by the most played, by the tuning, by the source. There might be one more. And that lets you, we use different ones. So the first line view for hammer dulcimers doesn't have the tuning because they don't care about the tuning. They don't use that concept. But and the performance one has the last played and most played. So it's various sorting capabilities kind of focused on the particular screen. And then lastly, the filtering, we had that facility to let you start typing in a name of a song and only show songs that had that the text you typed. And that was originally on Jamlog, and we got that working across all of views with this unification. All right, let's see a demo and take a little code walkthrough. Here's our opening screen. Before, these were this very light yellow color, and I think the brown looks better, and it brings out more the notion of hammered and mountain dulcimers being wooden instruments. So let's use a color scheme that's kind of related to that. I think the green kind of fits into just in that same kind of vein. All right, so let's look at first lines. This is the mountain dulcimer one, and you can see I mentioned that the sorting capabilities. You can sort by name, by source, by tuning. So these are DAD, but you might have others that aren't, or by the tab, the actual notes. We also added that you can create a new song in this from this screen. So let's do that. We'll have my new song, and we'll pick a different tuning. Let's go DAA. All right, and we'll save that. Okay, so if I sort by tuning, DAA precedes DAD, and you can see that they're broken apart within keys still, but sorted by the tuning in that case. The source, if I learn this song, or this song originally came, so I think John Newton wrote Amazing Grace, and Stephen Foster wrote the first version I know of Evangeline the Baker. We might list those sources and then be able to sort by them. We do have the filtering, so SO, there's only two things that have SO in them: song, my new song, and then Soldier's Joy. So we get a very quick filtering of what we're looking at. And then the first line hammer dulcimer, the big difference is it shows letter notes, not the numbers that correspond to fret numbers. Same other capabilities. It sorts by name, by source, or by the actual notes. Okay, and then onto the jam log. Mostly here, this is pretty similar to what it was. I guess we added the tuning and the most played. So I'm going to, well, we'll just have a few. So if I sort by last played, those ones I just marked as being today show up here. And let's add a couple others. Um, I'll backfill a date. Maybe I played this December 1st, and we'll save that. And maybe Boil 'em Cabbage I also played on some other day. Doesn't matter which one. Okay, now most played. Okay. It might be nice to show the counts there, but this one was played 2 times. This one was played 1 or 2, and so on. So it triggers this because it's the most played. So that's the reason for that. We'll take a note to consider putting an account on those. All right. Another thing we did with the dates was we made it so they were all based on the date of occurrence and not the date and time. Okay. So if we click something twice before, we would show it both showing the same date, but they really had different timestamps. We've changed that 2 ways. One is that we only use the month, day, year components, I guess time zone, month, day, year, to determine the dates. And then the other is that we changed from a list of performances to a set of performances. So any duplicate dates automatically just kind of fall away from that. We only count 1 time of recording for a particular song on a particular day. All right, and that's pretty much it for the changes for this week. All right, in the code, well, let's see, content view. The big one was, this was 2 lines before. One was the library for first lines, and the second was the library for the jam log, and they both read the songs file, but one of them made an editable library and the other made a read only. Now, if you change in one, you change in the other. So let's go in jam log, and there's my new song. So it showed up in both. Okay. There's some changes in this because of the coloring, but that's not really too interesting. I think the next big concept to look at is the all songs view. And this is the generic view that everybody, first line and jamlog use. So it has the sorting things at top, it has the filter, and it has some list of songs sorted by key. That's common between them. All right. The big difference is, how does it display the line? And here in our preview, we're just saying show the text of the song's name. But in the first line index for mountain dulcimers, it puts the tab numbers. And in the one for the hammer dulcimers, it puts the note names. And in the jam log, it puts the date of play and a little quick save button for the performance, and has the little arrow to go to the next screen of those files. So it's all they're all relying on this, and they provide how do you actually draw a line. So let's see the first line, mountain dulcimer. Okay, so it's all songs view. We specify the library, we specify the possible sort orders, and then within there, song metadata view gives you the first line, and this text of the tab gives you the second for the mountain dulcimer view. For the hammer dulcimer view, it also uses song metadata, but it uses the notes instead of the tab. Otherwise, they look the same. The jam log's a little different. It's got this navigation link, so that gives you the detail button on the far right. The jam detail view gives you what you get when you click the arrow. The label gives you the first line. So it has the song name, the source if it exists, the tuning, and so on. So that's all in there. And it's all reasonably straightforward. We considered making things even more similar, and maybe you would pass in the fields to show in the first line and stuff like that. But it felt easier just to kind of have these that you could look and see what was really the core difference in them. Okay. And then I don't think, well, library changed somewhat. The big thing it has now, it knows various things about the thing, the songs, the set of songs. So it knows all the tunings, it knows all the keys, and it knows how to sort them. That's the big thing. Each different sorting approach has its own comparison function. Compare the names, compare the tabs. The last played has a little more complexity because the performance is optional, so it has to figure out a default. And the others are pretty simple. Notice the most played, it sorts descending. Most of the others sort ascending. And the heart of this now is this songs method. You give it a key, you give it the text it must contain, so that's the filtering stuff, and you give it the order, so the choose your order thing. So it finds the songs in the key, it filters them by looking for that text being contained, or the text is empty, in which case anything's acceptable, and then it sorts them. So kind of a little pipeline of stuff there. And finally, record and update. They basically record these performances, so we can add those, or we can just update the song like we might do for editing just the song piece as opposed to the performance. All right, and then songs. Let's take that comment out. Songs. It used to be, well, it's always been this collection of fields. I'd say up through here, they'd kind of grown a little over time. But the big thing is we added this performance thing. So that wasn't a separate sort of library of performances. Now it's a set of performances. We can answer the last performance, so we can help with the sorting. We can answer the performance count for the benefit of sorting, and we can add a performance in. All right. It's not, I mean, mostly a lot of it is kind of data bag like. I mean, it started out as a pure data bag, just a bunch of fields. It's accumulated information about the set of information in the song, which is mostly the performances, but also the key and tuning. But that simplified things. Originally, I was going to work on persistence this week, and I decided, let's do some of these other stories around finishing up the jam log and getting it to its full form and making the first line view somewhat similar. It seemed like it'd be easier to do that before we get into persistence. So my new plan is persistence this coming week, if I don't change my mind between now and Monday. And so, yeah, persistence is really the only thing we're going to be looking at. We'll start for real this time. I thought I would last time. So you can join us Monday through Thursday, 2 to 4:30 Eastern or 7 to 9:30 p.m. UTC. xp123.com/Twitch takes you to the live session. xp123.com/YouTube takes you to the old sessions. I think a couple weeks behind, but lightly edited. However, I'm only here Monday and Tuesday this week, off for Christmas Day and following until all next week, and returning January 6th on the following Monday. So, it's the way it goes for a holiday schedule. Things come up. But anyway, Monday and Tuesday, I hope we're working on persistence, and I hope you can join us. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.